What is up, guys? Welcome to this video. In this one, I'm going to be talking about the art of self-restraint. Now, self-restraint is something that is rather popular in certain areas of YouTube, like the self-help section. So self-restraint has a lot to do with our ability to not engage in certain activities in favor of other activities that help us to achieve some kind of long-term goal. Now, this video is going to be designed for anyone who wants to achieve any sort of long-term goal ever in their life. Like that, if that's interesting to you, then this video is going to help you. So, the first thing that you actually need is vision. This is obviously crucial to a long-term goal. And I'm going to be writing down a list of things that are completely non-negotiable when it comes to the achievement of long-term goals. Now, vision has a lot to do with self-restraint. If you want to be able to get some better habits going in your life, you want to feel better, you want to have a career that you like and care about, you want to have better long-term relationships, you want to read more books, you want to do whatever it is. You want to engage in some kind of healthier activity that you believe will make you feel better. You need vision. You need some sort of long-term goal to orient yourself around, to organize your life around. Now, when you begin to value this goal automatically, and you really value it automatically, you will begin to act in accordance with this goal. So let's say you value, and you genuinely value, health. Now, when you really begin to value this, and values are key in this, you will go to the gym, you will exercise, you will begin to eat better because it's so deep in what you actually want. Now, let's say you have some other habits that you don't like too much. Let's say, you want to be healthy, but you eat too much junk food. This is obviously a perfect time for self-restraint and vision. If you're not, hopelessly addicted to junk food, this is where you actually need some direction in your life. Eating an apple is basically never going to be as utterly fantastic as biting into like pizza or a donut. Like, the difference in taste is obviously huge. The pizza tastes fantastic. The donut is amazing. But it's not about how the apple tastes in this situation. It's about what the apple will do for you long term and even short term. So eating the apple is going to give you higher amounts of clarity, which will help you to achieve the vision that you actually want. So vision in relationship to self-restraint will help you to automatically start to organize habits in your life that are serving this long-term vision. Whereas when you have no long-term vision, you're kind of like aimlessly walking through life, daydreaming, kind of in a daze. Even many people who think long-term are still walking around in a daze, but whatever. Topic for another video. Now, when I was 15, for example, this is a perfect example, I bought the video game The Witcher 3, and I had no long-term vision. So what was I doing with my life? I was playing too many video games, jerking off way too much, eating too much garbage food, going out and doing dumb stuff. Because I had no long-term vision. I was 15. I was clueless. Now, because I had no long-term vision, whatever came to me that I thought would just feel good in the present moment, immediate pleasure, immediate gratification, that is what I would do. I didn't exercise at the time. I didn't meditate, I wasn't reading, I wasn't building up any skill of any kind. I was basically kind of just doing whatever the hell came to me. I was kind of just going through life blindly. And then I began to develop a long-term vision. And I really liked music, for example. That was something that was authentic to me. And then I began to change a lot of my habits to serve that vision automatically because it was actually important to me. It was something I really deeply valued. And I began to purchase equipment. I bought a keyboard. I began to actually practice. I began to actually practice writing music. I began to learn editing and mixing. And I stopped eating so much junk food because it wasn't helpful, for example, in making music. It made me foggy, made me lose creativity. Whereas being clear and insightful and, healthy and well actually helped me to make better music. I played less video games because I was, interested in music. So vision and actually having some kind of long-term goal helped me to be able to have deeper abilities to restrain myself from unhealthy activities in favor of something that actually mattered to me. The next one, number 2, is being selective. This is huge. Because what is self-restraint? Self-restraint is being selective. It's selecting some things in favor of other things in relationship to some kind of long-term goal that you have. This is basically the art of self-restraint. If you don't have a long-term goal and you're not being selective, you can't develop self-restraint. You're just going to be kind of doing whatever feels good in the moment. And, this feeling good in the moment that I'm talking about right now has nothing to do with, health or clarity. It's more about like eating donuts and playing video games. It's sort of immediate gratification. And being selective, even just contemplating what it would be like to be selective. How would you actually feel if you were more selective about the people you hung out with? If you were more selective about the foods you eat? If you were more selective about the habits you have? Like instead of, let's say, playing video games in the middle of the afternoon, if you read a book for an hour, when you begin to think about what this kind of stuff will do for you long term, it is very inspiring. It'll, in a sense, if you genuinely value it, you genuinely care about, you will start to organize yourself around this, and it'll actually begin to inspire you and help you to feel pretty good about your life. Now, the initial shift from playing video games and eating donuts might be kind of hard because there's a massive difference between reading a book and playing a video game and eating donuts. One is immediately feels fantastic. And the second one is a different kind of pleasure. It feels good, but not like the donuts and the video game. This feels healthy. This feels like a mood booster. This feels like it's actually adding clarity to my life. This feels like it's gonna get me to go someplace in my life. This feels like I can actually understand what's happening around me by reading this book rather than by sort of playing video games and eating donuts. Instead of engaging in some sort of short-term unhealthy activity, I'm now sacrificing that for something else that will help me to feel utterly fantastic and do wonders for me. And as you begin to shift yourself from the short-term unhealthy pleasures to, the long-term stuff, actually sitting down to read the book will give you more joy than playing video games. Actually eating an apple instead of a donut will give you more joy because you're now retraining your reward system to want wise things. Doing unwise things will give you pain. If you were to sit down and play video games for 10 hours all day, doing that would hurt, whereas sitting down to meditate and read and write and exercise and eat well, this will actually give you more fulfillment throughout the day than playing nonstop video games. So selecting the very specific things that you want to do in your life, the people you want to hang out with, your habits, even the time you want to get up at, all the way to, let's say, the career you want to do. All of this is going to help you to restrain yourself from certain activities that you don't want to do. So I also want you to realize that there's a relationship between all of these points that I'm going to be writing down. It's not like you just be selective. See, like the core pillar is having vision. Because if you don't have vision, then there's nothing to there's no point of self-restraint. What's the point? Like if there's no long-term vision, you might as well just eat donuts and play video games for the rest of your life. But when you get that vision, that purpose, that actual sense of meaning in your life, this immediately, and it matters to you. You feel it inside of you that it matters. You actually begin to organize around that automatically. The second you value it enough to a certain degree, your life begins to organize around it. And then you can be more selective, because while you're organizing yourself around that vision, you realize, okay, this isn't helping me, this actually is helping me. Eating pizza isn't helping me, I'm losing clarity, I can't properly strategize, I can't do the things that are gonna help me to achieve my vision. So now I gotta eat apples or whatever, eat apples all day. I gotta eat fruits and vegetables, I gotta eat better. So now automatically being selective starts to occur. The third point is order. Now, when you don't have vision and being selective, and you're not restraining yourself, you're basically a disaster. You don't have very good habits, you're probably kind of messy. There's no point in really living, to be quite honest. Like, it's kind of a mess. You're kind of just floating along through life, waiting to die, basically. That's really what's going on. There's no point to your life. It's basically lethargy, laziness, and just there's not much to really look forward to, or to even look forward in the present moment. It's just mediocrity. You're basically stuck with being mediocre, which honestly, like, to me, I'd rather die, but if anyone else wants that, that's fine. But personally, for me, I would actually rather die than be stuck with that. So when you develop vision and, being more selective, order naturally comes about. You begin to actually get a better routine for your life, for example. You begin to change the actual, once again, stuff that you're doing, but even your environment will change. Like, I personally used to keep my room in rather crappier condition than what it is now. So if you look at my old videos, you can see there's literally a stack of books on the floor because I just didn't have a bookshelf. I didn't buy bookshelves. So I had one little one, and other than that, I just stacked them up. And it was just didn't look nice. And I realized that I can't live my life in basically disorder and chaos. There needs to be some kind of organization to my life which will help me to achieve the things that I want and be the way that I want to be in the world. I can't just throw my dirty laundry to the left and my half-eaten sandwich to the right, and there's crumbs and, who cares? I actually need to care about even the cleanliness of my room and my space, because this is actually going to have effects on my mind. I have to care about the cleanliness of even my organs and what I'm putting into it. Am I putting the right stuff in it, or is it, being filled with toxins? So order and acting, not so much acting orderly, like, orderly, but more so having a healthy amount of order in your life and consciously constructing it is really what I mean, is completely necessary for self-restraint. Now, this is extremely important, this next point. Health. That's a really bad looking A. Health. Ah, man. So all of this has to be in accordance with health, or else you're just going to, like, what's your vision then if it's not in accordance with health? If it's not to be well, you're just having a long-term vision to be unwell, to be ill. So health has to be big. You have to actually figure out what your needs are, how you're going to get them met, and really it has to organize around something that actually brings energy into your body. Like, you have to feel it inside of you. You have to feel it, like, this is actually giving me life. This is actually helping me and inspiring me to flourish in every area of my life. And another important point is the relationship between order and health. So I will just do a little thing right here. The relationship between order and health. So we have healthy order, and now we have unhealthy order. What is unhealthy order? Unhealthy order is when you're neurotic about absolutely everything in your life, whether it's like clean, like if there's a speck of dust, you're going nuts. Or if something doesn't go your way that you planned on it going, now you're so upset. So there's being healthy in all of these, in your vision and in this. There's healthy selectivity and unhealthy selectivity. Unhealthy selectivity will revolve around selecting poor quality food, poor quality habits, stuff like that. And unhealthy vision, this is an interesting one, is when you're so focused on like this long-term goal that you have that you actually miss out on the present moment and how beautiful your life is and the things that you're doing to achieve the long-term goal. So the things that you're actually doing to achieve the long-term goal, at one point, you have to rewire your reward system so that these are actually just as fulfilling as the long-term goal that you have in mind. So yeah, let's say you want to go out and develop some social skills. And I don't know if I used this in this video or if it was another one. Let's say you want to develop some social skills and you go out every 3 nights to a bar, a club, anything. I don't just mean like a party club. I mean any club at all, like a chess club, and then a library and a cafe. You go anywhere and you talk to people. You know, that might be a bit hard at first, but after a while it becomes pleasurable because you realize that connection is healthy for me. And that the process of doing that is just as exciting as the rewards and the social skills that you're going to get long term. Like, that is healthy vision, not just this sort of fixation on like, in 10 years, whatever, I'll have this, and until then, it's like, I'm grinding and it's a pain in the ass. It's like, no, it's like if you're doing something and it continuously feels horrible, like you have to be wise, like you're doing something strange, like there's something that you're doing that isn't healthy, you know, and you don't want to live your life in states of disease, you know, in favor of some long-term goal, like you're going about it wrong. There's something you're doing that is really screwing you over. So you have to be very wise in how you go about doing these things, and they have to be aligned with health. This is massive. The next is genuine. You have to make sure that what you're doing is authentic to you and that it's genuine. If it isn't genuine, you're basically copying someone else, and it has nothing to do with your personality type and your natural skills. For example, I don't know why, but I'm a relatively good presenter. Like in school, whenever we had drama class or even public speaking, I was very good at it. I was good at getting people's attention and holding it. I was very charismatic and very funny, actually. Not anymore, though. I'm not very funny or charismatic anymore. It's a shame. But I was naturally inclined to presenting. And so this is what I'm doing here is very genuine. Whereas, let's say I saw some cool gangster rapper, say I listened to some Tupac, and now I want to go and just do endless amounts of gangster rap because I'm so cool like that. Like that is completely out of alignment with who I am, you know? Although it has that presenting part to it, it's just my personality isn't like this gangster mentality. It's just like a weird thing I would have picked up from my culture that would have like infected my mind and screwed up my life decisions. So you have to really get clear about what feels good. And like this isn't just like a short-term pleasure. This is like what do I want out of life? Like what is going to make my body explode and make my heart sing with love and energy and creativity and appreciation and awe and just awe. Like looking up at the stars at night and just like gazing and like realizing how magnificent it is. Like what long-term vision do you have? What vision, like what thing do you want that will help to create that? So being genuine has a lot to do with health as well. If it's not genuine to you, it's also not healthy. It's something that, it's like an act you're putting on and it doesn't feel good. It's not really who you are actually, in a sense, meant to be and who you are, really. It's like almost like a delusion that you're playing. You're just fooling yourself in your own mind to put on some kind of act because you think that this is the thing that you should want. So how do you know what it is that you even should want? This is another sort of question that you should be asking. So how do you even know that your long-term vision is the thing that you should really be wanting? You know, so complicated. The next is, this is very big, emotional intelligence. Now let's recap and see how all of this actually needs to have a high degree of emotional intelligence. And I can recommend you this book right here by Daniel Goleman. It'll help you to understand what emotional intelligence is. But until then, let's just go back to the board. So emotional intelligence is extremely necessary for self-restraint because this is going to dictate whether when you're restraining yourself, you're fighting yourself and like it's this like battle versus like when you're actually doing it out of wanting to do it. So when you're, restraining yourself from some things in favor of other things, if it's a constant fight, like there's something about it that you're doing wrong. If like you're constantly beating yourself up, for example, and you're criticizing yourself and like shaming yourself when you're not doing it, like first of all, this isn't healthy. And you have to change your orientation and how you're going about this task. You can check out my video. I think it might be my second, go 2 videos back or 3 videos back from this one. It has a lot to do with shame. So shame will be in the title, but yeah. Every single one of these is acting in accordance with one another. So emotional intelligence will have a lot to do with being genuine, of course. You have to actually know yourself emotionally to figure out whether the thing you want is really what you want. And you also have to be able to distinguish the healthy and unhealthy forms of all of this. So emotional intelligence is going to help you to restrain yourself from some things because a lot of our addictions and a lot of the bad habits that we have, it's not the habit, it's the emotions that are driving us to do that thing. So when you have an inspiring vision, you're acting out of that inspiration. When you are lonely and bored, you go to Pornhub or junk food. So you have to have the emotional awareness and intelligence to realize what emotions do I have that are actually dictating my behavior. Because this is basically what's going to be pulling your strings in life. And how do I actually get more clear and positive feeling emotions, basically healthier, in a sense, healthier emotions that are going to help me to do well in life. So does that involve exercising and eating the right food and meditating and learning what emotional intelligence is and self-actualizing? Or what? How do I do that? So obviously, I gave you just quite a few points right there on how to do it. But our emotions are what rules us. Our emotions are dictating a lot of all our thoughts, really. Our thoughts are dictated by our biases, the things that help us to survive, and our emotions, of course. Now, without emotional intelligence, this isn't possible. You will never successfully restrain yourself from unhealthy things in favor of healthy things. You will constantly fall back into your unhealthy patterns and you won't know why. And on top of this, I'll add a 7th point. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Now, why do we fall back into unhealthy patterns? It's because growth works like this. We take 2 steps forward and then we take 1 step back. Because when we are trying to grow, we are trying to change ourself. And ourself doesn't want to change too easily. We are very stubborn when it comes to growing. We can only grow at a certain rate as well. So if you grow too fast, you have a backlash. So we are homeostatic creatures. Homeostasis just means that we want to maintain our current form. So when you change yourself too much too quickly, it is a very scary thing actually. And personally, I've figured out how to change the rate at which I can grow so that I can grow a lot faster. And when I don't respect how much I can grow and the rate at which I can grow, when I don't respect that, I naturally start to get scared. I will want distractions. I will want my old habits. I want to fall back into them. So without understanding how growth works, and that there's a specific rate at which we can grow, without understanding this, we will not understand how come I'm doing so well this week, but then the next week I'm doing so bad. How come I was like 100% on all my positive stuff this week, on all my exercises and habits, but then this week came and I flopped. I screwed up like half of it. You know, it's like, and you're beating yourself up now and you're shaming yourself. So it's important to understand that that's natural. And this is actually a part of emotional intelligence. That to understand that when you change yourself too rapidly, it's scary. And that you actually need to have, there's a process to which there's basically a process that's occurring. There's a certain amount of rest as well that you need in order to actually grow to a new level in your life. And if you don't respect that, you will crash back down into a lot of your unhealthier sort of routines and habits and ways of thinking and ways of relating. And you won't know why, because you don't understand how growth works, because you don't have the necessary emotional intelligence. Now, let's relate all of this to self-restraint quickly. Once again, if you do all of this, if you have these qualities, which they can be developed, it's not like you're just screwed. Basically, no one has this just automatically implanted into them. This is something that takes time to do and develop. So you need a vision on just to even be able to develop a high quality vision. You have to even be able to see that there's value in this. So when you are, first of all, aware of all this, like you are now, you can successfully restrain yourself from shorter term unhealthy activities in favor of activities that are more aligned with your authentic self, with what you really care about. You're not stuck in distractions and TV and donuts and video games, but you're actually geared towards something that is more real and truthful to who you are. And that is a healthy decision to make. That requires being selective. This requires all of this. And this isn't something that will come in 1 year. This isn't something that'll come in a month. This is something that has to be repeatedly worked on, and something that you have to learn to enjoy while you're doing it as well. That not only is it going to pay off at one point, but actually doing the work doesn't have to be this grind, this pain in the ass. I'm grinding and I'm working so hard, but it can actually be something that you love. Like it's like I would feel way better sitting down, eating an apple, reading a book than I would eating pizza and playing video games. It gets to that point where it's like doing these habits, doing this activity actually gives me even more short-term fulfillment than some sort of immediate pleasure. So if you want to successfully master the art of self-restraint, this is the stuff that you need. This is it. This is it right here. This is literally like the key. There's probably some other things that people can think about, but if you have all 7 of these, this is more like a 6.5 to be honest, because this is an aspect of emotional intelligence, but whatever, this is large. This is like just understanding growth. But if you have all 7 of these, there's absolutely no reason why you can't master self-restraint. And all of this involves being decisive as well. I can actually write number 8, being decisive here. So I'm going to erase this. And now I'm going to write being decisive. So all those 7 points revolve around the ability to make decisions, to actually make wise decisions, and to actually even identify what a wise decision is, and to continuously move in alignment with those wise decisions. So without being decisive, you can't actually master the art of self-restraint or any of those other 7 points that I talked about. You have to actually make the decision to be serious about what it is that you're doing, and not like this serious, but like, you can be light and playful, also being serious. But you have to actually not screw around when it comes to this. This has to matter to you. Like you have to really put self-restraint at like one of your higher values. You have to put your vision for your life at one of your highest values in your personal life. So without the ability to make a high quality decision, you will obviously not be able to restrain yourself, because once again, if we go back to what self-restraint even is, it's basically the ability to make a wise decision as well. Self-restraint in the way that I'm talking about in this video has a lot to do with picking health and ongoingly choosing health and well-being, evolving yourself to higher degrees of overall health ongoingly in all areas of your life. So that's it for this video. If you have any questions, you can let me know, of course, in the comment section below. But other than that, take it easy.